Good evening, good evening. You know what time it is. Good evening, good evening. Go ahead, come on in, make yourself comfortable. I hope that all of you have had a wonderful Wednesday. Now it's time for a little loving him from A to Z with Coach Ronnie B. Hey. Go ahead and share this on out. Make sure I make this public, of course. Hey, Instagram. How are y'all this evening? YouTube, how are you? LinkedIn, good evening. Facebook, y'all all right? Okay, well, I won't go ahead and delay you any further. I like this beat though. Hey, sister. Hey, Candy, how you doing? Glad you were able to join me. Okay, that's a good place to stop that. Y'all know I love me some music, some good groove, something smooth. And so let me go ahead and introduce myself just in case if this is the first time that you are seeing this face. My name is Coach Ronnie B. I am the relationship and resiliency coach. And what that means is that I help people discover tools that they can use for their mind, body, and spirit so that they show up as their highest self every single day of their lives, no matter what life brings to them, right? Okay. So I'm so good. Hey, everybody saying hello. Thank you so much for the hearts, the likes, the good evenings. It's always good. It's just good energy just to say hello. How are you? How you doing? Anyway, so of course this month is Love Month. February, it's Black History Month. It's also Heart Healthy Month. And so what I wanted to do was share with all of you some of my friends that are authors like myself and have books. And they just happen to be Black authors. So this children's book, DJ's Adventures in the Kitchen by Ziggy Washington. I'm so proud to introduce this book to all of you because when I first met Ziggy, I knew that she said that she was working on a book. I really didn't know what type of book that she was working on, but I decided to go ahead and purchase this book for Black History Month. But not only that, I have two sons that are going to absolutely love this book and the illustrations. These illustrations are beautiful in this book. So I would recommend that you go on over to Amazon. For those of you who have grandchildren, children, those of you who are educators, purchase this book, DJ's Adventure in the Kitchen by Ziggy Washington. It is available on Amazon. And for myself, I purchased this number. It's called Cool Nights by Mr. Keelan Wright. And this is a romantic comedy. And I decided to get some. It's been a while since I just read, um, just for enjoyment, just to relax. Because I'm always either writing something myself or doing something myself. But as soon as I found out that, and here's a nice little picture of him too. As soon as I found out that he had a book, I was like, yes, let me get your book and read this. So I'm looking forward to reading this romantic comedy, and it's pretty thick too. So yes, I would definitely put some time aside, bath time, what have you, and read a book. And for all of you, I would say this: it is so important that we support one another. And you have to excuse my voice, raspy, once again, sipping tea, fighting this little upper respiratory, whatever that's going on. But anyway, it's so important that we support one another, um, and that we share out, because even though we may not be interested in something, as I always say, it could bless somebody else. It could bless somebody else's life. Somebody else may need that. Okay. So nice of you to join. Of course, yes, you are more than welcome. You are more than welcome. Um, I'm so excited about this book. I'm like so excited to read it myself. And I showed this book also to my sister because she soon will be putting out a children's book. And when she saw the illustration, she was like, "Oh my goodness, that is so good." And I was like, yeah, she did that. You did that. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into day 9 of Loving Him from A to Z. It is February 9th. And so now we are on the I chapter, which is initiate intimacy. Clutch your pearls. We about to get into it, y'all. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, this is a very important topic. And so I always begin each chapter with a quote. And for the initiate intimacy, this is the quote that I begin with. The survival of your marriage depends upon you also initiating intimacy in the relationship. Just plain and simple, very cut to the chase. So anyway, of course, I'm going to read you a little excerpt from the book. I can't read it all to you. And I'll give my 2 cents and then I'll let you all go. So I hope you all enjoy. Anyway, let's get it started. There is enjoyment in being the initiator of lovemaking. Yes, planning a vacation for 2 is nice. A night out with friends is cool too, but nothing beats a quiet evening without interruption to ignite the flame between the sheets. This is for the married folk. Okay? Anyway, like I said, go ahead and clutch your pearls. Here's a quick tip. You know what? Oh, y'all might not be ready for this. Okay, anyway. So here's a quick tip. Foreplay in the evening can begin in the morning, whispering in his ear something sexy before you leave the house, or a playful romantic gesture. Maybe just what he needs to keep his mind on you the whole day. Check in on him. Text. Like we live in a place now where we're so busy while we're away from the house, like we don't communicate. We don't communicate until we get back in the house. And that's not great. That is not great. That is way too many hours to go without saying something to one another. And the survival of your marriage, like I said, depends upon you initiating intimacy in the relationship. So definitely intimacy matters, and the more frequent and quality encounters, the better. I cannot stress enough that men do not always want to be the initiator, ladies. They don't always want to initiate. Your confidence and passion with starting things tells him that he is desired, reminds him he is important, and notifies him that he is appreciated. It takes the pressure off of him sometimes. Believe it or not, ladies, men tend to feel pressure to please you when they always have to initiate intimacy. And that also accompanies thoughts of like rejection. Like, Is it the right time to approach her? What kind of day did she have? Is she too tired? And finally, does she even have the desire to be made love to? Now, on the contrary, we unintentionally overwhelm them. We women can bombard our men with too much extra to consider, such as like all the extras of life, like where to go, what are we going to do about this, what are we going to do about that? Okay, I got there's laundry in the I got to get that out. Talking about finances, talking about bills, talking about what's broke and need to be fixed and need to be fixed. Just like all the daily life stuff, like we need to learn how to kind of turn that off and then tune in so that we can be very present in intimacy. Because of course I see memes all the time where, for women, we're thinking about 6 different things at one time while we are being intimate. And it really cheats us out of being present. So focusing your attention on what is going on and who you are with, it's so important. And there are about 1,000,001 questions that we always gonna have as wives. At least I know I have them, and often will get anxious about hearing an answer sooner than later. From one season or crisis to the next, it's always, what are we going to do? When are we going to do it? They are left riddled with a plethora of things to figure out. I say forget it. The one thing he doesn't need to be in quandary about is his access to you. The access. Does he truly have access to you? So whatever you find necessary in order to clear your mind, girl, do it. Clear your mind. You owe that to him. You need a clean slate in order to initiate and bring to pass what is most needed between the both of you, which is that much needed physical reconnection, which can also involve emotional connection. Now, go ahead and take some stuff off of, his overloaded plate of things to do if you can. Come snuggle up on him and let him know, like his warmth is needed. Place his hand gently, on your hips and give him a long, lingering kiss. Walk into the room, giving him that sweet bedroom eye. This will take the daunting task out of him having to always pursue you. Nobody wants to chase anybody. Like, we all want to feel like we're wanted, right? We all want to feel like we're wanted. Love the roses. Oh, thank you. I love them too, Nia. And I'm sorry, I need a person in here to always like show the comments, because multitasking, trying to read and have dialogue is it can be too much sometimes. But anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. What may appear as an interference or inconvenience to you just because you didn't get to scratch everything off your to-do list is a surefire benefit. Submit to his desire to have you and take a pause for the cause. Take a pause for the cause. Don't act like it's a chore. Don't act like it's a chore. It's something that you don't want to do. He gonna pick up on that. He ain't gonna always like that, sis. Like, he's just not. And believe you me, more and more like couples have divorced about intimacy, the frequency, or the amount of time, or the quality, or all of that. So that's an area that you have to that we're also responsible for. And unfortunately, in some marriages, sex is viewed as a chore, and I just said that. It falls at the end of the to-do list. Like I said, all other energy has been expanded upon all the other stuff you had to do, such as work, meetings, picking up the kids if you still got kids, or maybe you got grandbabies, homework, dinner, washing dishes, all that, etc., etc., etc. And then he get the crumbs. He getting your crumbs, sis. You gotta put some energy on reserve. You got to. It's vital that you do that. Now, where on the list does it include a timeout for intimacy? The long list of stuff really had nothing to do with your husband. And ladies, don't put your man on a diet. He did not ask to be on. And I'm not talking about food. Don't put him on an intimacy diet. Let him get full. I'm just being real. Let him get full. You are the source. He relies on you. He depends on you for that. And anyway, let me continue to read, and then I'm gonna get off of here, because this chapter right here is a very good chapter. And I don't have, of course, I never had time to read a whole chapter, but that's why you gotta get the book. You gotta get the book, or you gotta buy it or y'all gotta read it together. Like, either way. Yes, is intimacy. I put that up. Intimacy is mental, emotional, and physical. It certainly is. Now, ladies, don't, as I said, don't put your man on a diet. He did not ask to be on. He had a 6-pack when he first met you, which, by the way, has turned into maybe it's turned into a kid. But it's all good. You still love him. He's still the same person because of all your good burning on the stove. You know, he didn't, kind of fatten up a little bit, but it's all good. Yet he looks anorexic when it comes to the bedroom, because you're starving him. You're starving him. And I know that this can go both ways. Don't get me wrong. I know that it can go both ways on either side, for the husband or the wife. But he is so just skin and bones barely hanging on. He is so malnourished in the area of sex that if some other woman threw him a snack cracker, he would wolf it down, sit and beg for another. You don't want nobody else being snacks. And not to say that he won't, that he wouldn't control himself, but we're human. There's an urge. We're not blind. We see attractive people. You do not even want him to get that in his mind. Like, naturally, it's going to be there anyway for men. That's what I keep hearing more and more and more and more. That is just a natural, it's a natural thing. But, acting on it after so long, you denying what is rightfully his. You're his, like his body is yours. Your body is his. And you're not supposed to deny access only if you have agreed upon it for a short time. And that's scripture. That's biblical right there. But anyway, at this point, another let me see, where am I gonna go? Denying him access to the honeypot should never be used as a form of punishment. Oh, y'all don't like that. Y'all don't like that. I know that. Be it there is a problem that does exist with initiating intimacy, it should be talked about immediately. But it shouldn't be used as a form of punishment. If anything, you should be punishing yourself when you do that. Blink, blink, if you enjoy it. Okay? Real talk. Okay. Okay, Sister Pamela, real talk. Be it there, okay, let me see where I'm at. There may be unresolved issues or underlying problems from the past or present which hamper the ability mentally to go there. And that is something that men have to understand as well. What you did, what you said, whatever, even for men, I would say even for men, there are certain things that may be a total turn off mentally because of something that has happened. You've been bruised, you've been hurt. And now you don't mentally, you're not even desiring them mentally, let alone physically. But men tend not to understand the emotional connection tied to intimacy. And when we are deeply wounded, sex becomes an afterthought. Here's my challenge to you, beautiful queen. Yes, you deserve respect, honor, and love and truth. If you have decided to reconcile, realize there's a process of normalcy that has to accompany that decision. It's common that the thought process, he doesn't get what he wants until I get what I deserve. But unfortunately, in marriage, sometimes that rule, um, it may not apply. For Corinthians, chapter 7:4 says, the wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields it to his wife. If we are godly wives, we are to give ourselves freely to our husbands and vice versa. Again, don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot me. I'm just a vessel delivering a message because I care. Now, if it is something medical hindering, then you gotta seek a doctor. You gotta let a doctor step in, and don't be embarrassed about it. And as hard as it is to talk about, sexual health with a medical professional, you really don't have a choice because it is too important to ignore. And I would say this. Whew, it's time out on feeling embarrassed, ashamed, or insecure, which should have no residency in your life when it comes to your spouse. I'm throwing the flag on that. You have been invited into the huddle to change the game, sis. Come into the huddle. We try and change the game. And we are on the winning side. If there is anything I want you to walk away with after reading this chapter, it is that your sexual communication with one another can be fixed, improved, or enhanced for that matter, but you have to be real with one another without injury and without criticism. Rule of thumb, it's always best to start by saying something nice. We've always been taught that, right? What are you telling him that he does well? What are you telling her that she does well? Because if your language is a lot of, well, you don't do this and you do it like that, no, then what am I doing right? Because that's another thing that will turn somebody off. Anyway, it's time for me to go. Questions of this chapter. Let me go ahead and read this in the prayer, and I'm going to let you go. Number 1, do you both find intimacy to be generally satisfactory and on a regular basis? Number 2, how do you ensure to keep sex at the top of your priority despite the demands of life? Number 3, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being very often and 1 not often at all, how often do you initiate intimacy? Number 4, is there anything scheduling wise or even mentally that blocks you from having regular, meaningful intimacy? If so, have you discussed possible solutions? Number 5, do you consider yourself an assertive or passive initiator? Number 6, how often do you flirt with your husband, and what is his response to the advances? And I'll say this because somebody out here right now, I know it. I feel it. Somebody does not feel beautiful. Sis, you are beautiful. Whoever you are, and you deserve to be loved. You deserve to be touched. You deserve to be cared for. But somebody doesn't feel beautiful and wants to hide themselves. And your lack of self-esteem about your own body is getting in the way. But he don't care. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about that. He's not looking at that. He wants you. He signed up for you. Anyway, I just add that I felt like somebody felt that way. Anyway, let me go ahead. Prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, God, you do everything excellently and is and is perfect in all your ways. I want to show my husband that he is desirable and wanted always. Help me to remember that it is okay to initiate a passionate kiss, embrace, or loving touch because you have sanctified our intimacy through a covenant. Knowing that intimacy plays a huge role in my marriage, Lord, I want to ensure that my husband is satisfied with what I offer him. When times of discontentment arise, let not our anger or dissatisfaction with one another break our bond to engage in intimacy. If anything, God, let us create more opportunities as this is healthy and, most important of all, pleasing to you. Amen. Woo! Y'all just don't know. Y'all just don't know right now. When I wrote this, some of the things that I read, because I don't always read. Yes, absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna put your comments up here. It's hard to do it by myself. Yes, absolutely. Real love does not hurt each other. This is awesome, beautiful teaching, sis. Thank you so much, Sister Pilgrim. When I read some of this back, because it's been a while since I've read my own book, it's amazing to me to think, because I know that some of this stuff was not just my words. This was definitely a God-inspired book that was written. Anyway, so tomorrow we're on day 10, which is day J. Day J. We're talking about joy, and pain. Keep it going. And son, y'all know I'm goofy. There's always a song in my head. If Coach Tamasha's on here, she's probably cracking up because I always have a song for every single thing. But we're going to be talking about joy. So join me tomorrow. Sorry, I cannot come on at a certain time of the day where you can just, for sure, like at 7 o'clock, show up and be here, because my life is what it is. But I am committed to showing up every day. So whenever you can catch the replay, just catch it. Just catch it. Anyway, I will be talking with you all on tomorrow. God bless. Have a wonderful night. This is Coach Ronnie B signing off. Bye, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram as well. Bye.